And in the turbulent frontier lands of late 13th and early 14th century Anatolia, leadership was often measured by strength in battle and the ability to command loyalty. Yet among the many frontier rulers of the time, Osman Ghazi stood apart for another reason: the simplicity of his personal life and the fairness of his rule. As the founder of the early Ottoman state, Osman combined military courage with humility and generosity, earning deep respect from both Muslim and Christian communities under his authority. Historical accounts describe Osman Ghazi as a leader who deliberately avoided excessive luxury. Despite controlling expanding territories and accumulating war spoils from successful campaigns, he maintained a lifestyle that reflected the values of a frontier warrior. His residence was modest compared to the palaces of established rulers. He dressed plainly and remained closely connected to his soldiers and people, reinforcing the perception that he was one of them rather than a distant monarch. This simplicity was not merely symbolic, it shaped the political culture of his emerging state. Osman believed that leadership required sharing both hardship and reward. After military victories, he distributed spoils among his warriors according to established customs, ensuring that even ordinary soldiers benefited from success. A portion of these resources was also directed toward the poor and vulnerable. This practice strengthened social bonds and created a sense of shared purpose within his community. Osman's fairness in governance became a defining feature of his rule. In a region marked by ethnic and religious diversity, he faced the challenge of administering justice across different populations. Contemporary sources suggest that he approached disputes with an emphasis on equity and consultation. Local leaders and religious figures were often involved in decision-making, allowing communities to feel represented within the new political order. For Muslim settlers, Osman's leadership embodied ideals of justice and charity emphasized in Islamic tradition. He supported religious institutions and encouraged scholars and spiritual leaders to settle in his territories. Their presence contributed to the moral framework of the state and reinforced the legitimacy of his rule. At the same time, Christian communities living under Ottoman control were generally permitted to maintain their religious practices and local customs. This pragmatic tolerance helped stabilize newly acquired regions and reduced resistance to Ottoman authority. Osman Ghazi's reputation for bravery was inseparable from his image as a just ruler. He personally led campaigns against neighboring strongholds, sharing the dangers of the battlefield with his men. His presence in combat inspired confidence and loyalty. Soldiers were more willing to follow a leader who demonstrated courage alongside them, and victories further enhanced his standing. Generosity complemented this martial reputation. Stories circulated of Osman providing assistance to families affected by war and supporting infrastructure in growing settlements. Markets, roads, and defensive structures were developed to sustain expanding communities. By investing in both military and civilian needs, he laid the groundwork for long-term stability. Respect for Osman extended beyond his immediate followers. Christian populations in frontier towns often viewed his administration as predictable and comparatively fair. In an era when warfare frequently brought destruction and displacement, consistent governance offered a measure of security. This perception encouraged cooperation and facilitated the integration of diverse groups into the Ottoman system. The combination of humility, bravery, and generosity fostered a leadership model that emphasized service over personal gain. Osman's court remained accessible, allowing subjects to present grievances and petitions. Such accessibility strengthened trust and reinforced the idea that justice was central to the new state's identity. As the Ottoman polity expanded, these early practices influenced its institutional development. Systems of land distribution, military organization, and local administration reflected the principles established during Osman's lifetime. His emphasis on fairness and shared prosperity helped transform a small frontier principality into a cohesive political entity. Historians often note that the success of emerging states depends not only on conquest, but also on the character of their founders. In Osman Ghazi's case, personal example played a crucial role. His simple lifestyle communicated restraint and discipline, qualities that resonated with a population accustomed to hardship. His willingness to share wealth and responsibility created loyalty that could not be secured by force alone. The memory of Osman's leadership continued to shape Ottoman identity long after his death. Later generations looked back on his reign as a formative period when core values were established. Narratives emphasizing his humility and justice became part of a broader tradition that celebrated ethical governance alongside military achievement. In the broader context of medieval Anatolia, Osman Ghazi's approach offered a model of frontier rule that balanced pragmatism with principle. By respecting local diversity while promoting a unifying political vision, he reduced internal divisions and strengthened his state's foundations. His ability to inspire trust among varied communities contributed significantly to early Ottoman expansion. Today, scholars view Osman Ghazi's simple life and leadership as central to understanding the rise of the Ottoman state. His example illustrates how personal conduct can influence political development. Through humility, fairness, and generosity, he established a legacy that extended far beyond his lifetime. The story of Osman Ghazi is therefore not only one of military success, but also of ethical leadership. In a period defined by conflict and uncertainty, his commitment to justice and shared welfare helped create a durable political order. The respect he earned from both Muslims and Christians reflects the effectiveness of a rule grounded in inclusivity and fairness. As the early Ottoman state moved forward under his successors, it carried with it the imprint of his character. Institutions evolved and territories expanded, but the foundational ideals associated with Osman's leadership remained influential. His life stands as an example of how simplicity and integrity can coexist with ambition, shaping the course of history in profound ways.